Hi, I'm the Fashionate Traveller, also known as Trashtastica, and today is my first ever video blog post. Now, I'm finding that whenever I wear this rather lovely headband, I get lots of comments on it, and I thought it might be a good idea to, DIY it basically. How hard can it be? First of all, we need some felt. Now, you need some pretty thick felt, because if it's floppy, it's just not going to keep its shape, and it's not going to sit nicely on your head. Also, if you use very thin felt or craft felt, it will need stiffening of some sort, which you don't really want to be mucking around with. So I recommend this very thick grade felt that you can get from millinery supplies, or even some dressmaker shops, fabric shops do have very thick felt by the metre. Now, we need to have items to put on to the felt. Well, the mind boggles with what you could use. Once again, while I was in Japan, I grabbed hold of these rather lovely metallic beads, I guess you'd call them. They come attached. You merely snip off what you want. You could use rows, you could use whole squares, but they're something that will look quite effective. Same store. I bought some of these square ones. Again, you can cut them off in any configuration you like, glue on, so on, whatever. And once again, some in this sort of dull silver, which I rather like as well. I don't need to tell you that metallics are still very big news, and embellished anything is very big news. You could certainly use this technique to make very nice shoulder pads as well for your t-shirts, dresses, jackets, whatever. Other than that, you can of course buy little beads, flat back to good. Easy to sew, easy to glue on. So here's some nice little pearlescent ones, and if I get one out of the bag, you can see there, that's very nice. We also have little flat ones, little jewels. You can get fairly cheap ones that are used for scrapbooking. Who cares? No one's going to know what you paid for them. If they look good, use them. I also rather like little cameos with skulls on them, but that's my taste. Now, before we get to all that, get all this out of the way, you've got to design the thing. You have to decide what shape it is that you're wanting to wear. And through the magic of editing, I've brushed my hair. Now, we were at the stage of working out what we wanted to have on the headband, what shape we were going for. And I've decided to go for an EGL crown, or otherwise known as a Vivienne Westwood crown, or just any plain old Elizabeth Regina crown. So, I'm looking at a shape something like that. So we've got to draw it. Materials for this are pretty simple. Piece of paper. Pencil. Where's my pencil gone? Pencil. Now, the important thing with this is to fold your paper first. You can see I've already cut one out there. Now, the importance of folding your paper is so that your shape, when you've drawn it, is symmetrical. So basically you draw half the shape, and then when you cut it out, it's exactly the same on both sides. Easy peasy, really. So, I've decided on an EGL crown. So let's start drawing. On the folded paper, on the fold. So, I'm starting off with cross at the top. Although that might get a bit fiddly, I might dispense with that in the final design. I then want to go for this nice curve to the top of the crown, and then another curve. Actually, it's beginning to look like the Kremlin, but hey, I can have a Kremlin on my head if that's what I want. Got my basic half crown shape drawn there. Next step, obviously, cut it out. So we've drawn our shape on our piece of paper, and we've cut it out. I think you know how to cut out paper, don't you? Here's my shape. It's virtually perfectly symmetrical. It can be tricky with scissors sometimes, not one of my bestest skills, but yeah, it's not rocket science really. There's your shape. Then we need to transfer it onto the felt. Enter piece of felt, thick felt, as I previously mentioned. Now, shape. Now, if you have some fancy dressmaker items and have chalk or a special pencil you use, go ahead, use that. I'm a bit of an artist and I have watercolour pencils or aquarelle, so I'm using those. I find they dust quite fine off afterwards if they don't get wet, and the outline is nice and sharp. So, drawing onto my felt, my crown or Kremlin. Anyway, you know how to trace things, right? And across at the bottom. That's very rough, but I'm hoping you can see I've got a basic shape there. Here's one I prepared earlier. Okay, next step. I'll bend down even lower so you can see my face to start with. But basically what I'm doing with my hands, once again, is the important thing. So, we have the shape cut out. Like so. And I've just started making a few decisions about where I'm going to put things. I'll place it that way so that you can see it right side up. Now, I may use an actual charm that it already is a crown at the top. We'll see. That looks okay at the moment. What I have decided, I'm going to use some of these nice squarish beads, I suppose, embellishments anyway, to form the base there. And I'm going to use some of the nice rounded ones to form the shape of the crown. And for the centre bit there, to show that we've got different sections of the crown, I've cut a slightly longer section with more circles in it. Maybe going all the way to the top, I'm not sure. But that will curve round like so. And I've allowed myself more than I think I'll need, because you can always cut one off, but if you've cut it off, well, you can't add it back on. So we're going to have 2 rows of the beads there, and we'll see what happens after I've attached those. Just to show how that's coming along. There's my crown so far. I've used the rectangle or square beads on the bottom and the circular ones to show the curves of the different sections of my crown. Now, you could use a lot of different glues, I guess. I've used a glue from Spotlight, wash and wear glue. Sewing is obviously the best, it makes things much more durable, but these weren't able to be sewn. So, this is the original piece. And this is mine. You can see I've filled in with some paisley shapes to the side there, some alternating black and white diamantes, and some nice swinging bugle beads at the bottom just for a bit of movement. And now that it is all filled in, it just needs to be attached to the headband. Right, now the hard part is pretty much over. Now for the simple bit at the end so you can attach it to your head. Now, again, I'll show you the original that we have here. Now, they used quite a wide band, but what I'm going to do is use a thinner band. It has already got sequins on it, so it's got a tiny little bit of bling. And I'm going to, I think I might attach it sideways actually. Ta-da! So there you have it, my finished headband, as modelled on my lovely foam head. And that's about it for me. That was my first DIY. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you try it out, because I'm sure with an embellished headband like that, you'll make heads turn everywhere you go. So this is the Fashionate Traveller saying goodbye, and hope I'll see you again next time.